Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Man, oh man, did we have a great time last night. My goodness, it was one of the best family things I've been to in a while, and it is all because of my daughter. She's able to walk around and everyone loves on her, so I appreciate you guys. Understand why I didn't want to make a YouTube video and I wasn't feeling the best, but today we're feeling good and we are ready for some technical analysis here. And as people are paying attention to how aggressively this is actually falling, maybe we need to understand that as of right now, if the bulls are able to clarify, like, hey, this is another higher low, and we're able to go up and make a new high, that would be a good sign. And then we'd have to get through that test. The next test is going to be right up in here. What can we do around this area? Can we push through this type of area to get up to higher levels, to that 576? Because that is overall how I see us going higher, because as we look at this from the perspective, and we will talk a lot about this in Saturday's video, so thank you guys for being subscribed. Thank you guys for spending some time with me over the weekend to look at some of these things. When we go into those bigger time frames, we need to understand something here, and that is that this can become more complex, right? We understand that this is a confusing time, and if it is going to continue to be volatile, we need to pay attention to the fact that this daily does not have reversal signals, and it is deeper into negative territory than we have seen in a long time, right? Even these touches here, we were able to go lower than that. And back when you do go to these type of lows, what do you normally need to see to head in the upward direction? Well, some kind of divergence, boom, to the upside. So sometimes we might need to see that divergence, and we need to be open to that. Now, if we're able to continue to make those series of higher lows and higher highs, and we're able to get all the way up to that 576, maybe go up to that level and then experience some kind of pullback, that would overall be a good thing. But if we actually stop short of that type of area and curl back down, this is going to be a little bit of a problem for the market, because this could extend a little bit longer. I am not necessarily leaning towards that, but that is something that I'm very aware of, is the fact that the daily is negative. And if we do see forms of weakness up in these areas, we will be paying attention on this channel, okay? We'll just be paying attention to it, because this has proven to be interesting. This has proven to maybe even need that 2-hour divergence that we were aware of, right? The more likely thing was, hey, we're going to see some kind of 2-hour pullback and we're going to see what happens. But as of right now, this looks like a 2-hour that is still positive. This looks like a 30-minute that could solidify itself as another higher low. But we have to see what happens with the price action today and going on into next week. So for the time being, we do have daily expected moves. Those should be posted in the bottom right corner. Let me move those over a little bit. In the bottom right corner, you can get those for the SPY, the Qs, the SPX, and you will see 540.01 to the upside, and you have 511.31 to the downside. So a very big range for the day. There's a lot of money on the line today, so that makes a lot of sense. And everyone's trying to figure out, is this really bad, or is this really good? And we did get the CPC yesterday to come out at 1.04, meaning a lot of people are thinking it is pretty damn bad. But is it as bad as it seems right now? Well, if you take into consideration some of the most basic things about technical analysis, you would say this is a low, this is a high, this is a higher low, and we have yet to make that higher high. We made an equal high, and that's why we're experiencing problems. We need to see if this is going to solidify itself as a higher low from the previous and be able to make that new high to really convince you that this can continue to be a positive trend. So you will need to see some positivity here, or else you are at risk of seeing that 2-hour take over as it goes negative and head down to something like 500 would be very interesting. Paying attention to 502 and 500 down at lower levels. So hopefully that you guys are ready for the day. Hopefully we have our plan in place, right? We have a plan for if we're going to take a trade. We're waiting for those confirmations. And then at the same time, if we do take a trade, we're always paying attention to position size, and we're always paying attention to the fact that we need to have a plan if something goes wrong, right? Nothing in the market is 100%, so have a plan for if it goes wrong. Awesome. Well, you don't consider Good Friday a federal holiday. It should be, in my opinion, though. Do you guys trade ideas or just run your mouth? We do both. Lots of selling bounces, dip first, in my opinion. No, let's go higher. John is just like, yeah, let's go higher. Right. Well, we're gonna take a zero tolerance for this. All right. You don't need to comment. if you can't understand the type of ideas, the trading ideas that we're talking about here, and you think that we're just running our mouth, maybe you're not understanding what we're talking about, and maybe you need to learn a little bit instead of running your mouth, sir. Bitcoin going to break out. Let's go look at Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin has the daily divergence. That's kind of why I'm not leaning towards the market making that divergence, but I think it's important to understand, this channel is a lot about the things that go in my mind, the things that I think about happening, right? The decisions that I think I'll have to make as we open up on the 30-minute, just a little gap up. We'll see if we can fill that gap. And that's why I wanted to bring up the daily chart, right? I just wanted to bring it up and say, hey, this is something that I'm aware of that can happen. And so if I see weakness, if we head in that upward direction and I see weakness, I'll be aware that that daily is still negative. Oh yeah, Polar Bear. I'm kind of having zero tolerance today. If people on YouTube, the trolls want to come in, they're not even subscribed, and they want to come in and say stuff, that's fine. You'll just be hidden from the chat. You will just be a distraction for people actually trying to learn. You are not a good thing for society. Goodbye. We do see divergence here for Bitcoin, which is something we pointed out multiple times on this, that Bitcoin was, hey, look at the divergences forming. It's holding the triple divergence points on the RSI. You want to talk about a trade idea. This was the trade idea that has been talked about for Bitcoin for the last couple of weeks. Actually, up in these areas when we saw weakness, we were mentioning it. So even during this downfall, we were mentioning the fact that divergence could form. It confirms up. And then you say, all right, that looks pretty good. Now you're getting some consolidation, and you have to make sure things are going smooth, right? That means the 4-hour would need to curl up into what? Positive territory. Does this have reversal signal in it at all? No, it doesn't. This looks like a solid 4-hour move. This looks some sort of flagging at this point. And here's the thing. These things can fail, but guess what? If you're making a flag here, there's a very good opportunity that this positive trend is going to continue. And the edge is still to the bulls here, as there is a fight between the bulls and the bears for Bitcoin. So if the 4-hour is able to confirm up, that would say positivity, and then we would watch out for the trap. This is more so where the trap happens. We need to see a strong move, so there is no form of weakness here in momentum. That is what you're looking for from Bitcoin, and it's a good sign that Bitcoin is going to get that because it has daily divergence. That is a massive daily divergence that if you see that on Bitcoin, it usually means great things. What did we overall see towards this top before a big drop? A divergence. Bam. We see a big move down, right? From the high to the low. Let's even take the wick, 17%. If you want to take to our line, 15.55%. So this just confirmed here. Well, let's see. How much could that go? Well, it needs to go up almost 25% to really be a good thing. So it's going to need those forms of consolidation. Very, very nice, though. Let's just see across the board. We see JP Morgan potentially trying to make what? A higher low, right? This is not crazy by any means. But the reason that it seems worrisome and the reason that you're justified to be worried about it is because your momentum is shifting to the downside. But don't forget the fact that your 2-hour is still positive. And if the 30-minute curls up, it's kind of hard for the 2-hour to go down. What was the other one we were looking at? Palantir. Remember Palantir? This one gave all the divergences at the top, boom, to the downside, curled down the 2-hour chart. But how positive is that 2-hour chart? Very positive. So this could go all the way down to 85.12 and still turn around and be a positive thing and break through this and go start moving to the upside, right? This is not a bad thing at this moment. This could be some kind of move that takes you lower for something like Palantir, and maybe I need to practice my patience because the 30-minute is pointing down still. It's not curled up, right? So maybe I need to be patient and make sure that all of my things are there in order to actually take a trade, right? We talk about 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. We talk about that all the time. And if you want to know a lot of the reasons that I take trades, well, you can learn all of those reasons. We literally break it down for you and go, this is the exact 5 things or how you can find 5 things using everything that we use on this channel, right? We talk about it all the time. Fantastic movement so far. We'll see what happens. As of right now, I wanted to talk about VIX as well. VIX, I think, very interesting. Still not able to take back the 5, almost looking like a flag, right? Very volatile flag, we would say, potentially more volatile flag. But if you look at this 2-hour, what's it doing? Well, it's getting towards that center line. This is the point where we'll make a decision. Are we going to be able to go positive, right? Are we going to see that next move and then fail? Or are we going to see that next move and break through and see this 2-hour be able to go positive? That will be a big deal for volatility. Volatility as of right now is curled down on the daily chart with not so good confirmation. So we want to see a negative day here for volatility. That will add up to some good things for the bulls if we can get an actual negative bar for VIX. Hopefully, we're getting a lot of those 10%. So we're seeing a rip around kind of market. So be aware that if volatility goes down by more than 10% or up by more than 10% today, there are those 85% chances that we'll talk about over the weekend and during the live show, most likely towards the end of the day if we're seeing those type of numbers. As of right now, leaving behind a gap, I think it would be interesting to come down and fill that gap, but let's not forget the fact that we have filled this right here. Everyone is paying attention to, can we break through? Can we break through? Every bull wants to break through this. Every bull wants to go up into these type of areas, but every bull needs to understand you have to get to these type of areas to really get back on that bull side, like fully. You really have to react to higher levels because this area here can be dangerous, so we'll pay attention to it. Out of all this, JP Morgan actually doesn't look bad at all. No. Now it looks like a drug out, it looks like some kind of 30-minute pullback that's really dragging out, so it's able to go negative, which means I got to treat it a little cautiously. But if that just curls up and then we see some strength and then the 2-hour curls up again, you're probably getting a bigger move than even this move right here, right? What's the bigger move? Well, in some kind of uptrend move, usually it's actually the second one. It's the one that actually goes back up into positive territory, right? This move started from a low, and it's been a great move. We had to create a strong floor for it. Is that strong floor there? And are we going to be able to actually see this curl up into positive territory and see something crazy getting up to 575? Then we pull back, and then we can run into problems. We'll talk about that as it forms, right? But overall, the key level is got to get to here, and you might run into problems here towards that gap fill. So that's what we're paying attention to, and we'll talk about that more over the weekend. Nvidia is still going through struggle bus time, but is it that big of a struggle? Well, once again, what do we notice here? Well, we went up, we curled down. We created a low, we created a high, we created a higher low, we created a higher high. The big problem for Nvidia is the fact that it came down and made something like this and lost it, right? That's a big deal. It is a big deal. It means that there is more weakness here for the time being. We'll notice that the 2-hour is actually able to slightly go negative. So the story for Nvidia is a little more risky, but if this 2-hour can still turn up, what would that be? It'd be a positive thing. And this would say, hey, I know we said those 30-minute higher lows are all right. We lost one, but maybe that's to make the 2-hour higher low. And I like 2-hour higher lows way, 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 way better. They're very, very strong. So we'll see if that 2-hour can turn up today. Because as of right now, it's turned down, right? It is turned down, which means, there's always the chance that we head lower. So Patreon members, make sure that you're paying attention to your daily expected moves today. We even gave you the second standard deviation just in case we see something crazy. But for most of these options expiration, we really haven't seen like those 1% moments on OpX. We really haven't seen it on OpX. Thoughts on SoFi? Yeah, very happy to go look at SoFi. SoFi, once again, what are we experiencing here, and why does this look better to me than Nvidia? Well, we have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low, we have yet to make the next higher high. So in this, you have like inside trading, which says, okay, we're trying to carve it out. Is this going to be our actual next higher low that sends us to the next higher high? That's what we're looking for. What do you have to do in order to see that? You have to see the 30-minute curl up into positive territory. Why is it a little risky right now? Because the 2-hour is on the edge of curling over. So you do not want to curl over right now, because that would say we can take out this, we can take out this, and we could possibly even go down here with a little bit more edge too. We're going to make that 2-hour what? Higher low, right? We have 30-minute higher lows. You know what is stronger than that? A 2-hour higher low. So now you kind of know. It's like, okay, if I see a 2-hour rejection here, and this crosses over the MACD and crosses over the RSI, the risk of going lower is high. So what do I want to see if I want SoFi to be bullish? Exactly what it's doing right now. I want to see this get back above the 5, close, cross up that MACD, already crossing the RSI, almost getting above 50 there. That's great. And then we need to see this thing go test these type of areas and make a new high. That's the truth of it. Yeah. GLD, very interesting to me that GLD is up at these higher levels. I think that this is super, super FOMO-y at this point. There is no way in hell I would be starting a position in GLD right here, even though I think it will potentially be able to go even 5 to 10% higher when it's all said and done. I just don't know if that moment's right now. This looks like complete FOMO to me. Let's look over at a couple others. Amazon, okay? This one is very, very interesting. Why? Because we actually went down to that breakout area, right? Right where you break out, right? This little box right here is what you want to look at. And guess what? We're there, which means this is a potential opportunity. You got to think this big move happened and we slowly gave up all of it to go back down to that level. And then if we just curl up on this 30-minute, we need to see something good here for Amazon as the 2-hour is curled down, as the 2-hour went down to lower levels, as the 2-hour has made divergence point. You have 2-hour divergence, which means if this 2-hour can curl up, you have a very high probability to take out this high. You have a very high probability to fill this gap. And then in order to get really bullish, though, I think you need to react all the way up to 206. I think you need to see a strong move, if not some kind of move like this, see some kind of pullback, and then curl up into positive territory to give us that good structure to actually head to the upside. Remember, if we see some kind of squeeze and we skip through that structure, be aware that a bigger pullback, a bigger retrace can come. But if you're short squeezing, it will be very hard to short that. I'm not talking about shorting in case we do squeeze in the near future. I have let off of the shorting gas. Hedges are a different thing. So how's everyone doing this morning? I think you feel some news will come out over the weekend. We'll shake things up. Ayo, you are bringing up a very, very good point. If you've had a good week, if you've had a bad week, don't make your week worse, right? If you're in a point of, if you're confused at all going into this weekend, is it good to risk my money when I'm confused? Potentially not, right? We would say more times than not, it would be no. It's, am I confused and I'm seeing good things in front of me, but I'm tricking myself, right? What am I seeing in front of me? And be honest about it. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper and say, this is what I am seeing right now as far as it goes. Completely try to be unbiased and write those things down and then read them back to yourself and say, okay, am I willing to risk my money behind this, right? It is a long weekend. We have a lot of news coming out on random days. You can see a good thing. You can see a bad thing, right? We don't know what kind of news could come out over the weekend. So I think that's a good thing to think about today. Do I want to hold things over a long weekend? Am I willing to accept that risk? Me, myself, I'll be willing to accept that risk, but that's me. We think about money differently. Yeah, Robert, of course. Hey, thank you for being here this morning, buddy. Intel, yeah, we've looked at Intel a few times, Will. Intel we've looked at a few times. This is great. Once again, what are you doing? Well, you went down, and also, this is still a higher low, by the way. I mean, I know it's going to look really flaggy on a bigger time frame, but boom, boom. The only thing is you failed to really solidify, like, yes, this is a positive trend. So you're still kind of waiting for that moment. You're pretty much looking for the curl up here. You're looking for that new high. You're looking to break out. You're looking to break out, go to those higher levels because you have yet to confirm, like, yes, we really want to go in a positive trend. You're in that in-between. And how do you know you're in the in-between? Because you keep going positive, then you go negative, then you go positive, then you go negative. So a decision has not been fully made here. So all you would really consider is, hey, above this would be good, below this would be bad, right? At the end of the day, you're just like, there's probably a little zone right here, and there's probably a little zone right here, and you're looking to break through both of those zones. You're kind of trapped in between, and your MACD is showing, hey, the bulls are thinking we're going up. Oh, the bears clamp it down. We're going down. The bulls didn't have enough confidence. Okay, it goes back up. Okay, it goes down. But at the same time, it's kind of getting tight. A big move is most likely going to come soon, whether that is we need a couple more curl downs or something like that. Maybe we get a hint. If we blow this up to a 2-hour chart, you're noticing that the 2 hours curled down, which would tell us for the time being, we should treat this as if the bears have a slight advantage. And this could be some kind of consolidation to make you go down to lower levels. Watch out for divergences and things like that, of course. But also, it's more just being patient and watching for it. Can that 2 hour actually turn up now? The 2 hour, when it turned up here, great move. But look at this. That great move didn't come near going to positive territory. But what have you done? You've built up for a long time to where you did get a curl down, and the risk is to fall lower. But if that can shift around, where would that curl up into? Directly into positive territory, which means you have a great shot to take out this level and head to higher levels, right? Maybe even testing something like 2350. That would be fantastic for Intel. So you have to see how it develops and be ready for the things to react to. I'm not telling you which way this is going at all. I'm telling you things to react to that could happen with the charts, because right now it's pointing down. So if I take a bullish trade right now, this thing could just keep falling. I've never gotten confirmation of upside. But if this thing would confirm and just do something like that, maybe I could assume some risk by saying I have RSI, I have price action, the MACD is lagging behind, but it's so close to positive territory that I'm going to risk it and be able to manage it if it's going to go wrong. Then we can see that nice move to the upside. Right? It's all based on decision making. You just have to make decisions and then make decisions if something is going wrong. I like it though. I actually do not mind this look. It looks like we are holding very sideways, which always invites another drop to come. We could head to lower levels, but do we really want to for Intel? That would be very, very scary time. So if this is going to lose this level, you better see a divergence really, really quickly. Okay? So I think the higher probable thing for right now would say your MACD is saying we are pointing down, so we are going down. But if this 2 hour can curl up, you better change your tone very quickly. DIA really suffering while things are green. I think that's interesting to me. That doesn't give me too much faith in what's going on for the time being. We do see yields starting to almost base out, starting to look like that 2 hour starting to base out, looking like that 4 hour that is by that center line. Ooh, another reaction from yields. That might be a little bit rough. The bond market is in serious, serious trouble right now. So scary, scary times, right? What do I want to do over the weekend? How much risk am I willing to assume? Maybe it means, hey, this is a risky weekend. I still see the signs in front of me of a thing leaning in one direction, so I want to put money behind it, but maybe I don't risk as much. Maybe I downsize the position. What's up, Martin? How's it going? Kalani, Jim, Willow? Goodness gracious, Willow's coming in with the Truth Social post. Oh, good. Had a very productive call with President of Mexico yesterday. Likewise, I met with the highest level of Japanese trade representatives. It was a very productive meeting. Every nation, including China, wants to meet. Today, Italy. So if we're reading into not so much the media, but maybe we do read into the president of our United States, right? Maybe we read into that and we say, well, is there higher potential that we are going to see some deals come out, or is there higher potential to see more retaliations? At this moment, I think that they are on the verge of seeing something bad in the bond market. I assume that we're going to start to see money pumping at some point. To be totally honest, maybe I should go check money supply and things like that. But at this moment, we would say, all right, he's saying that deals could be done this weekend and people are coming to the table. Those are all good things while we're not seeing the worst things in the market. So we can read into it, but I like to wait for confirmations. Trump wants Jerome gone. Will that help the market? Who knows? It could hurt the market. It could help the market. But if we see that Jerome Powell gets let go and then we see a 2 hour divergence pop up and that thing confirms to the upside, I would say that people would tell you it's going to be bad. And then the price action says it's actually going to be good, right? It's more about what do we see at the time that it happens, right? What do we see at the time that the things are happening? You know, that's more important to me. How are people moving their money? How is momentum behaving when something happens? And maybe it curls up and then we see it go wrong, right? And that's why we have the plan for it to go wrong. But a lot of the time, when everyone's super, super bearish and you get a piece of news, any kind of news, not just about Jerome Powell, whatever, people will tell you it's horrible, and then you'll just see something confirm, and then you'll see things start to go up, and then you'll be convinced it's horrible, and then it keeps going up. So we'll have to see what's going on with it. For the time being, is the SPY in a great spot? I think it's in a great spot, but is it good right now? You can't say it's good. The 2 hours crossing down, the 2 hours now trying to go negative. You can't really say that that's a great thing. We need to see that confirmation of upside again. But there are opportunities out there for risk to reward, in my opinion. Right? I think Meta is going to go through some struggle bus. I think it might need to do something like this, right? I think it might need to do something like that right over here. But for the time being, if I at all see this 2 hour cross up, I'm lottery stocks in this thing. Right, Richard? No. Okay, you know me. When I say lotteries, I mean I might take a solid position, right? I have a starter position for Meta though. We talked about that on Rumble yesterday. The starter position is very, very small. And if I don't see something that makes me confident to hold it over the weekend, then I'm not going to make that position bigger. Yeah, well, that means YOLO it, load the boat. We're supposed to be loading the hollow boat. Let's go look, Richard. We have to look. It might be, sometimes he points out some that are actually have a good look to them. So I wonder. I mean, that's not a bad 2 hour look. I will tell you that. It's very flat, but it's not a bad 2 hour look. You can get reactions from that. This is like maybe I would buy, $500 worth and see if something good happened and just be like, all right, cool. Now we can take the wife out to a couple of nice dinners or something. But I don't think this is something I would. And if you get lucky, hey, maybe this thing screams, to $20 to $10 or something. It's a little more than that. But for now, you have daily divergence on the MACD, no divergence on the RSI. You have 2 hour divergence now, and we don't have any extra info to this, and it's a very, very penny stock looking thing right now. So I don't know a lot about the company or anything like that, but I would say, hey, there's reversal signals here. If you're in an environment where you get good news, maybe this sees good news as well. I don't think I'd be trying to, this is something that a lot of people do, right? I talk about my dad's friends all the time that I grew up with, and they told me how they trade. And they said they like to, or how they invest, they like to take $10,000 a year and buy a penny stock like this, and they'll buy 10 of them with $1,000, and every once in a while, one of them will pop to $50 or $60 or something like that, and they go, sick, this is great, right? That pays for all of it. So I think that's interesting, right? I think it's great. But that's a very risky strategy, and you have to be willing to be wrong like 90% of the time with penny stocks. So maybe even more than that. But hey, Warren Buffett, he was wrong 97% of the time, and he's rich as hell. For the time being, though, we are below the monthly expected move, which tells us we have data to pay attention to, and it is 68% chance to land above this line by the end of the month, and we are halfway. Wolf, 8%. Wolfie boy, let's go, Wolfie boy. Made that floor. Come on, Wolfie boy. This is our toxic degen stock, I guess, on this channel, right? It's AMC, GME, and Wolfie boy. Not bad for Wolfie boy, very, very deep, though, so it's going to be a rough time. It's super cheap. Super cheap's always good. As long as you're not, taking out a HELOC and doing some weird stuff. Who does number 2 work for? You tell him, buddy. Hey, you tell him, buddy. Hey, grip the arm rail and push, bud. AMC opinion. All right, let's go look at AMC for a moment here. AMC, once again, what is going on overall? A 2 hour pullback. What did we say was the most likely thing to happen for AMC just a couple of days ago? Well, boom, 2 hour pullback. Now, this was interesting. I thought this was going to be like, damn, that thing's going to, oh, here it is. I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on, do it. Because that's what you'll see. You'll see it kind of like fail the 2 hour pullback very quickly. Then it just drops the next day. So you are experiencing a 2 hour pullback. Are you negative? No. Are you in a great spot? Actually, yeah, you're going down to great little levels here. Actually, a little bit lower would be nice, but you're testing into this level here. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I really like breakout areas like the tops, right? But when they're tight like this, I always more so point to this, right? When they're tight and volatility is higher, I always point to the direct like breakout. Where did that start? So I would have liked it a little deeper, but the fact that it's remaining positive is a good thing. If AMC can just curl up on a 2 hour, you can see good things. Watch out for 2 hour divergence. That seems to make it fall. Now, in order for AMC to be good, you probably want GME to look good. Well, GME, the most likely thing was a 2 hour pullback. Have we done that? Let's see if we can, load in this century. There we go. 2 hour has pulled back. Maybe that's all the pullback you get. That'd be kind of crazy. I think it needs to at least go down and fill this gap. But hey, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what is happening in front of me. And what do we always say? It's kind of hard for a 2 hour to go down if a 30 minutes curling up, especially when it's into positive territory. So if this starts to see some strength here and you see this curl up into positive territory and it remains like that all day, you don't see some kind of up and then fall down, right? We don't curl up for a couple of hours and then see that thing start to rotate down. Well, then this looks pretty good. And this looks like it's doing the things that a squeeze would almost do, right? A very light 2 hour pullback curls up on the 30 minute, and that'd be a good thing. Why am I talking about this? Because it directly, I think, relates to AMC. I think they kind of move in tandem. We've seen too many moments like that around their earnings to say they do not react to each other in any way. Very nice. You have daily that is positive. You have a 2-hour, that is negative. You have a 30-minute, that is negative. You need the 30-minute positive and the 2-hour positive and the daily positive at the same time, and that is the recipe for good things. A squeeze is a 1% moment, and that's why we put this line up every single week. Patreon members, go check your monthly expected moves because you know what is right in this area. You have more data than people watching this stream right now because you're a part of Patreon, and that's fantastic because it is great information to help you make decisions. That means that when you saw this, you might have had a decision to make, and we talked about that decision making as well. So thank you so much for being a part of Patreon, and hopefully this information is helpful because that's exactly where we saw the 2-hour pullback. Very nice. Thank you for asking about AMC and GME. They look interesting. They need to do a little bit more positivity, right? 30-minute has to be positive, 2-hour goes positive, daily goes positive. Guess what? That can happen with a gap up on Monday. So it just depends on how much risk you want to assume. Of course, Ben. Why are they correlated? I actually could not necessarily directly tell you. My thinking would be that someone has exposure into both. That's how I would overall think about it. A lot of people point to algorithms and things like that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but that overall means to me that someone is doing the same thing in both. That's how I think about it. Tom Lee, the permabull. What did Tom Lee say, Jim? The water on deck is a good thing. Hey, I'm just saying, if things remain good, then it'll be good, right? If things can curl up, then you can see upward price action. That's all I'm saying. And if a big moment happens, a big moment happens. Anyone can do whatever they want to do with their money. It is not our, right? It's not our money, so we have no decision-making power. You have all the decision-making power, and so if you think that AMC or GME is going to do a good thing, I would just suggest use your skills, right? Use the skills that you maybe have learned from here. Use the skills that you maybe learned from the course that's 80% off down there. Use those skills because that's going to give you an edge. A lot of people don't understand that divergences are a great thing to pay attention to, and when you utilize them with weekly and monthly expected moves, it really unlocks you as a trader, and it can advance any trading strategy having an understanding of what these things are. What up, Money Shorts? Edit, how's it going? UNH getting hammered. Yeah, you got me mixed up with someone else. Definitely not getting in the Titanic submarine. Yeah, I don't know if that'd be good. What was that little submarine or whatever that like they took down to the depths and it just imploded or whatever? And it was like 3 billionaires or something went down there. I don't know what that was. I'll tell you what though, Richard, all right? I hold AMC. If AMC goes to, if AMC goes up in a significant way, if AMC ever hits $20, I will get, and GME follows it with a nice upward move. I will get a ape playing video games on. I will get a tattoo of an ape playing video games on my shoulder. Sell, bro, don't hold. You guys, I'm holding with an average of like $3. I do not. I'm not someone who had AMC. I did not buy AMC here. I did not buy AMC all the way up here. That is not me. Sorry about it. That's not me. I'm not someone who talks about AMC with the hope that it comes back. I'm talking about if AMC has good signs of going back. I'm invested in AMC in here. In here. Well, actually, I didn't catch this one move. So in here. I think my cost average is 352 now. Do you think that's really hurting me? Do you think I put $1 million behind it? Come on. If you've been around this channel for a while, then you know I'm pretty risk averse. I'm pretty much someone who thinks about risk at all times. So you think I'm going to load the boat, Richard? No, I'm not saying to sell now. I'm saying if it ever goes up again. Oh, of course. You guys, I already have my levels to sell at. Yeah, see, Jim? Like, do you see the risk to reward? Right? People can say whatever they want to say, but at the end of the day, it's my decision. It's awesome. It's my decision to assume so much risk. I don't want to assume a ton of risk there, but I'll take a little move from 352 to 14 or $20. I'll take that. I don't need, I don't try to get rich quick, but maybe I'll hold on to a few things just in case. When's when's a good day to get in today for the SPY? There's a day within a day here? It's on your face. Really, Polar Bear? Okay, when's a good day to get in today for the SPY? Sorry, I'm making fun of you a little bit. Money short said it. Well, I'm not part of that game, right? I don't do that game. But I would say if the 30-minute, if you're able to see what you're seeing now, this would tell you your RSI is saying we're probably going to go here. That's for the time being. You have not crossed that center line, so it's not the best. The price action is saying, hey, if we can get through that 5, if we can get through our monthly move and not use it as resistance, if you can get through this little line right there, I think, right, then you're going to see this start to curl up green. You're probably going to be heading to 540. That's what I would say for the daily, right? But right now, it's pointed down. So if this just fails and fails and fails, well, then you're heading the other way, right? I'm not a day trader. I do not try to day trade. I am not someone who, that's not necessarily my skill. But I have had to take day trades during our trades, trades that we mentioned and we said we wanted to get to here, but we thought it would take a couple of days. Well, it took a couple of hours, so I turned into a day trader. That was my target, right? So I sold a lot in that area because I was aware the most likely thing is to pull back. So you can turn me into a day trader if you make the move fast enough. Uh-oh, cost is popping off, and SPY's starting to see an upward move. Cost ain't doing shh. You liar. Ended up going back to investing. I just don't have the knack for the day trade. It's too, I'm pretty fast. And it's just too fast for me. The decision making, I like to slow it down because maybe it's because of my ADHD. Maybe I think too rapidly when it's the decision's too fast. I like to slow it down. That's why 30-minute divergences are like the lowest thing that I usually play. That's like the lowest thing. It looks like we're cut like 50-50 red to green on the day. That's cool in the chat. 7%. Oh, I didn't pay attention to it. Maybe I need to look at it. I thought it wasn't moving. I'm not seeing a report of that here, so. Oh, it's not trading on TradingView? Ah, that's so lame. Let's go look. Let me go into somewhere else real quick. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. Okay. Yeah, a little bump up. Wait. I was just seeing a green number. That doesn't say 7. I still can't find it. Oh well. I'm not really, costs might be tied into some stuff. I'm just not gonna pay too close of attention to it, but we got a lot of other stuff to worry about today, huh? Whoa, my chat is spamming. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. The whole chat's reloading. Sorry, guys. Torja saying down, then up, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing to say by any means. I don't think it's bad to be paying attention to, hey, downside can produce negativity, then you get upside, right? Technically, a lot of people will be paying attention to this, and this, right? But technically for us, we're just like, hey, the 2 hour, we like to spread it out. So if this wants to go deeper, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. It's more so we lose these levels again. Hey, we need to see that divergence really fast, right? I don't think, because if you lose these type of levels now, you lose this again, that's going to be really rough. And you can see kind of a waterfall moment again, kind of like we did here. You can see that again if you start to break these levels. Oof. So I think you really want to solidify this as a higher low in this area that we marked off the other day as where bulls will be lurking, right? Bears are here, bulls are down in here. And the bulls really do have a bigger zone to work with, in my opinion, for the time being. Now, where would bears be next? They'd probably be right there, right? They would probably be right up in this area, and that's why I think you want to blow past it and get to 576 with a really strong move. Now, I'm not a mind reader. I wish I was, because I would be the richest man on the planet and be trading stocks left and right every single day. You know I'd be day trading probably, right? Actually, probably not. Time is a valuable thing. Time is a valuable thing. You know what I'm saying? Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. That's good. VVIX. VVIX never been popping off either. Never even curled up on a 2-hour, though. That's oof. So we're watching the 30-minute, and we got to see if that can produce anything. Good stuff. Oh. And I can find it over here. Ah. Bad, not bad, not bad. The face is so bad that the dollar is not doing well. Yeah, I mean the dollar is struggling, but it's holding its floor very cool. But yeah, it's a struggling type of moment for the dollar. What we're looking for is any kind of inclination. Hey, 4-hour rejection divergence. That might be all we need here. Look how the 2 hours behaving. Hey, that's looking like, hey, if that fails here, it's kind of wiping out the divergence. This is saying that the dollar is going to try to get a daily bounce. But if you keep consolidating and then you fail, right, this curls down again, that would be the start of potential failure, right? You need to see this daily be able to get that positivity. You need this 4-hour to really go positive here because all you have is rejection divergence. It's going to be a rough spot. So that's unfortunate. You need I think the dollar and the market have kind of been correlated. The weakness in the dollar is not a good thing. You don't want your currency just dropping off a cliff, right? We talk about sometimes the dollar as hints of insider buying. Well, if the dollar drops off a cliff, that's a little bit too much. Ugh. Tesla just broke down through that area. Able to hold up in the middle here. Where? Breakout area, right? We went to this point. This is something we were aware of. We were just like, hey, breakout area. This looks very flaggy. We're like, can that go up? Can that go up? Well, if the 30-minute goes down, loses the 5-day. That's a problem. 2-hour able to cross. And really, we just sat there, right? It just crossed and then it sat there. So right now, the 2-hour is suggesting lower prices, but we did just retest the breakout area, which is what I wanted for Tesla. So I would be more inclined to still be paying attention to higher lows than saying, oh, yes, we're going to wipe everything out and everything's going to be terrible. But I still would potentially be looking at my position sizing and looking at how much money I want to risk over a long weekend. Does that make sense? I still would be like, I'm looking for bullish signals. If I see one confirm, I don't think I want to risk a large amount of money during a time where you can see crazy news that is bad. You can see crazy news that is good. But that's myself, right? You can assume however much risk that you would like to. I just don't like ruining my weekend, right? Yo, Jim, fact. People hate on the dollar so much, and I'm like, what do you use at the grocery store? I'm like, what do you use all the time? Everyone in here has dollars. I bet not everyone in here has Bitcoin. Hey, that could be a shift happening later on, but for the time being, Bitcoin is not worth any kind of consumer use where I'm at right now. I hope it changes. I hope that would be cool if it did, but it would need to stabilize in some way. You can't use a currency that's dropping by 50% one year and gaining 300% one year. I just don't think that's a healthy environment. We like dollars. That's why I have them in my pocket. Buy gold, right? Yeah, toilet paper. 50% is conservative. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. Freaking wedgie over here. My goodness. Remember people are holding. Yeah, I think it's the stupidest thing ever. Do you know what me like? I actually had a famous video because back when I was doing comedy stuff, I had a famous video because during COVID, everyone ran and got toilet paper, and I made a video about why are you grabbing toilet paper when you could wash your butt in the shower? Like just facts, right? And then something bad was potentially going to happen in my family, even my close family. They ran and got toilet paper, and I was like, "We got food. Food probably more important." Any news on Japan? We have heard that Japan and Donald Trump they are meeting at the table, right? I mean, gold's a good thing, you know. I think it's a good safety thing just to have. Like, you know, me and my dad has gold. I think, you know, he has a good amount. I kind of just accumulate slowly if I can. Why is the Nikkei up 3%? Well, you know, that might be some early signs of some things happening. Okay. All right, Richard. I'm telling your wife. I'm screenshotting that and sending it to your wife. What is this? Red flag. Market bottom coming Monday. Who's with me? Sure, not Navin. I'll be with you. Richard, is that a midlife crisis I'm hearing about right now? Not Navin. I'm with you, buddy. You know what? Screw it. Oh, you guys have a great attitude today. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Don't knock it till you try it. Oh man, you guys are cracking me up. All right, let's click through some things real quick and let's see what stuff could be more troublesome, what stuff could start curling up. All right, we see the SPY. Awesome. Qs, great. Let's see if we curl up. Look at that. Where do we go to? Isn't it nice when one of your lines that you draw at the beginning of the month is there and it's used multiple times? Isn't it great when it's used multiple times? Man, I love lines. I love lines with actual data behind them. They're pretty awesome. Q is very, very nice. We got to see if this can solidify itself and make a new high. That's what we need to do. We need to see a new high here. And we're right now curled down. IWM, this thing looked like it could be the weakest. This thing looked like it could be the most troublesome. This thing is the only one that really didn't curl down on the 2-hour chart as far as indices goes. I'm pretty sure, right? This curled down, that curled down, that curled down. IWM didn't. I think that's hilarious. I thought IWM was at the most risk to see that lower price point. It didn't happen. See, what I think doesn't always happen. And I'm holding IWM, so I think that's awesome. 30-minute here. We're seeing that with the RSI getting above the center line. We're seeing that with the price action confirm. You have two forms of confirmation right now. If you're confused about confirmation, and when I say the word confirmation, maybe that's something that confuses you all the time. That's where the course will really clean it up for you because we blatantly tell you the reasons for a trade, and those reasons are confirmations and other things to put behind it as well to show support at those levels, show why it's an opportunity. So here you go, 30-minute. Can we curl up into positive territory? That would be a good thing. We need to take out this high. Sadly enough for IWM, you have to take out this high. At this point, because of that move, you do want to see you get back above these type of areas. So that's what I would say for IWM. 30-minute curls up. You need to see positivity. If you do this and you fail, you still got to be aware that that 2 hours by the center line. All right. DIA. This thing is the one that's scaring me a bit right now, dipping down to lower levels, but still, have we lost the key thing? Well, actually, for something like DIA, equal high again. So low, higher low, higher low. We just need to make that new high. We need to see that next sequence move start. And that would be a good thing. Right now, gapping down, not the best sign in the world. 2 hours curl down, able to start to go negative now. So you really want this to remain higher up. You want that 30-minute to curl up to see positivity. These are things to react to. The 2 hour has already crossed, suggesting that this is a possibility, suggesting that this down here is a possibility. And at the end of the day, if that goes negative enough, this would be lower probability, but still in the realm of probabilities there. But right now, a pullback seems more likely. A 2 hour, will we solidify the higher low? TLT, this one I'm worried about. This is why TLT, I think, goes and makes a 2-hour divergence. I think we're going to see potentially another pop from yields unless we get news, right? We have to get news that can help out these yields for this moment, because if TLT breaks down again, ooh, that's going to be a big problem, but you would see a divergence. So am I thinking about doing something with TLT soon? Well, if I see something like that, I might. And maybe I have weekly or monthly expected moves to help me out. The reason that I'm pointing this out is there is 30-minute divergence here, and this is not at all the strength that we really want. It's a little bit, right? It's a little bit. We have seen that move above the 5. We have hit the 5, and then we have come up again. It's just lackluster, and you're seeing that curl down again right now, which would say there is a lot of credibility too. The 2-hour is going to turn down, and as the positioning is still it's actually negative clearly, then you can take out this low, potentially even go make a new one, and then see that curl up. So we want to see when that curls up at any time on the 2-hour, if that were to curl down with the 30-minute divergences. So there are some hints going on there. Apple overall going down to the 95% line. So Apple is suggesting, and we gave you this line for a reason, 95% of the time you close above that line by the end of the month. Hey, we're above it right now. So if we lose it, 95% chance to do that by the end of the month. So are we looking for, can the 2-hour curl back up? How beat up is the 30-minute? Yeah, it's beat up, but is it really the most crazy crashing you've ever seen from Apple? Can it get worse? Yes, but you need to curl up this 30-minute to say, hey, we're taking back the 5, make that new high, get up and fill some gaps, get to a good level like that 220, 225. Oh my goodness, that would be very, very good. But we have a lot to do before that happens. Tesla, once again, a little bit more worrisome because you lose this, but this looked very flaggy, and we're just treating this like what? The 2-hour pullback, right? 2-hour pulling back. Can that be worse? I think for Tesla, it can. You've built a lot of liquidity here. But for the time being, if you remain by that center line, you retested the what? The breakout area. Okay, awesome. That little box that we draw up right here, you tested it. You're still left behind a gap, so be aware if this 2-hour never curls up, that is a possibility. But if the 2-hour curls up and you take out this high, and you start to take out these levels, I think you're going to head to 328.50 pretty quickly once that actually does take place. You have to take out a lot of chunks in here. Amazon, for the time being, doing what? Testing the breakout area again, just like Tesla is. And what do we need to see now? The higher low prove itself for the 2-hour, saying 2-hour move to the upside and take out this high and go to higher levels, where then you can use those previous levels as support now to head in the upward direction. The goal for Amazon is to show strength by getting to 206. For Nvidia, we see even better price action according to right now. We have a low, right? It's better than Amazon. We would say this is a low. Okay, now we have a solidified 2-hour high. Can we make this a 2-hour higher low? That's going to be a big deal because you have lost this point for that 30-minute. It's risky, but it's still really close to that center line. Let's see if positivity comes in. As of right now, we are not seeing that positivity, so we should expect down as a 2-hour is curled down. We should expect down as a 30-minute is curled down. Maybe we see little 5-minute hints, and for you day traders out there, maybe there's something for you to do. Maybe there's something in here you're paying attention to, but for now, on the bigger time frames, mainly it is, I need a 2-hour to curl up. Same thing goes for AMD, and AMD actually looks better than Tesla, than Nvidia. Now, one thing that AMD could do that would be bad is catch a bounce here and then fail that move, right? We could see how that would really add up to, hey, the 2-hour, it's still close to that center line. It's negative right away. Okay, so we can easily come do this first before we're able to see any positivity. And if that divergence point, that never confirms, then there is no divergence. There is no trade setup if you don't see confirmation. Meta, we've already been through this. 2-hour divergence. We're looking for that to confirm. Do your thing, Meta. Go for it. We'll see if it happens. Microsoft, very good move, but once again, kind of like AMD, you're going down to the bottom of this wick. You're getting down to there to where if you see a little bounce, ooh. So watching this 30-minute would be good. It is negative. So that tells us that this is a very high probability of happening, which means we could revisit those lows. So we need to see strength here if this 30-minute curls up. We need to make a new high. And that's the truth of it. You need to see the 2-hour curl up. Google, similar, a little higher up than this point, so a little bit better. Creating some little mini divergences here, suggesting there could be a good, I would just say, 30-minute move. If that 30-minute move just does this and fails, you're kind of having some weird structure that could say, ooh, further downside, right? If it curls down by the center line. So the 2 hour needs to curl up. You need to see strength. You need to see strength that takes you out of this. Once you get out of that, hey, watch for traps right up in here. But for the most part, if you can get to 173, it's starting to look pretty damn good for Google. AMC, GME, we went over all those. Pretty much 2 hour pullbacks across everything. DJT, not curled back on the 2 hour. Interesting. Flat divergence. Divergence at the high. See if we can violate that. That would be a good thing. SoFi, we went over that. How's that doing? Hey, we're getting above the 5. Getting above the 9. That's good. MACD not crossed, but RSI now above that center line. And the price action saying yes. So 2 reasons. I like 3. I like 3 to 5. I use the 3 to 5 to dictate how much money I want to put behind a position, and then I include risk in there as minuses sometimes. So it'll be divergence +1, divergence on both +2, price action +3, risk of environment -1. That goes back down to 2. Support. Okay, now we're back at 3. I play that game with myself a lot. Palantir, looking for the 30-minute to confirm back up. If that doesn't happen, 2 hour can continue to pull down to something like 85.12. Gold, that's just sky high, very FOMO-y, not paying attention to it. Even thinking about, I really thought about shorting at some point. There was a big trade that came through on gold, I think, but for the time being, for AVGO, just watch out if this thing starts to fail, right? If we curl up slightly or reject in any way from here, we start to lose that 165.89. You can head down a little lower. We could hold up here. We could go to gap fill. There's a lot that could happen for AVGO if it keeps going down. But look how positive AVGO looks. This is one we were very much so loving. This is one that I was able to take profit on very well. Now I'm looking for the 2 hour pullback, right? The 2 hour next opportunity. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's go off to the races. Let's get up to 197, right? Let's get all the way up there. Let's go for it. JP Morgan, right, looks pretty good. 2 hour, once again, still positive. So this is not, it can get worse, guys. But what are we seeing from these 2 hours a lot of the time? They are either just barely negative or most of them are positive. So right now we should be like, yes, this has a bearish tilt, right? It has a bearish tilt, but it's in positive territory. And it doesn't have reversal signals above it, really, on like a 2 hour. And the 30-minute has really worked out those divergences. So take into consideration if things curl up. If they don't curl up, then there's nothing really to react to. Awesome. All right, we were able to get through a solid chunk there. Starting to reject again from the potential monthly expected move. Slightly getting there. Look at the Qs. Qs as well. Okay, so we'll find out. Going to a 5-minute for today. Have some fun with it. See if we can sense some direction for the market. Maybe double bottom. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to go into a 5-minute for a split second. Is it better for all of the stocks that went down to continue down and then curl up to indicate greater positivity? Actually, weirdly enough, that is a good question, okay? It kind of depends on, I would say, the liquidity. I would say if you want things, if you need more liquidity, then you are very likely to go see, those lower lows, take out those positions, snag some stuff on the way down, get people to make some big bets, and then you just gap that thing out, you just start screaming, right? That is it. But since we've remained at lower levels with high puts for a long time, now at this point, well, then that would tell me actual strength from a stock is better to have a higher low, right? If you take it into consideration, what is better? Seeing something with lower lows for bullishness or seeing something with higher lows for bullishness? Oh, money short-sighted. That sounds nice. But, at the end of the day, higher lows are a way better signal of strength than, say, making a lower low but seeing divergence. Do ETFs work similarly? Yes, I would say most things follow that principle, yes. More so when I see like divergences form, I'm thinking it's liquidity problems in some way or some kind of fake out. Why is a fake out happening? Well, maybe because they want you to make the opposite side of a certain bet or take out your positions in some way, right? I think it would be more of a liquidity type issue. Still possible to see the monthly upside range on the SPY? Possible, yes. Probable for this week? No. See how next week behaves, then we'll see how probable it is by the end of the month, right, BK? So if next week we see a weekly expected move, maybe it's in the same area, and we close the week here, and then we see the next week's weekly expected move like this, then we would say it's very, very probable, right? It's within our 68% zone. So if we're seeing a curl up around this area, then 587 is what I'd be watching. For the time being, we're not close to that yet. So for right now, this week, very low probability. For the month, still 68%, but we have to see how next week behaves. As we get time behind it, we start to see how probable that really becomes. I wish I was on your page right now. Stay out the market till Monday. Didn't Lucas say sometimes a no trade is a better than a bad trade? Well, it's just, am I confused? Am I not? And that's something that just always goes with it at all times, right? Why am I, I was talking about gold yesterday and I was like, man, I really want to risk to reward this by taking a put on this bad boy just for like 2 months. I really want to. But what did I say to myself? That convinced me out of it. The risk in my mind was too high that could just float at higher prices or remain seeing crazy things to say 3,600 in the futures, 3,400 in the futures. So I go, do I really want to waste all of the good trades that I've had, especially last week, and really waste that with some kind of risk there? Is that too much money to take another position for that? And that's where I just convinced myself the risk is too much for me. And I think that's what you're talking about. Sometimes risking no money is the answer if I'm confused. The stock market will always set up something else. That's why we talk about patience. If I have a bad feeling and I miss out on something, I don't have to FOMO into anything. I can just say, oh, the market's doing what the market wants to do. And I decided to not risk anything. I easily could have made the wrong play, right? That's it. I easily could have made the wrong play. Oh, sure, it's easy to convince yourself, oh, I was gonna be right, but you weren't right. You were too scared to take the play. And that was the best decision for you at that time based on your knowledge. And I would say, risking money versus not risking money when confused is a very, very good trait to have. Because the market will still be here in a week and you could see a stock pull back on a 2 hour and then see an even better move. You could see consolidation. And then, sometimes the bottom's not even the big move, right? You bottom out, you curl up a daily, then you consolidate. Then you see a big move, right? That's why there's breakout traders. Got to get rich before 2030. 2030 will be expensive times. That'd be nice. Yeah. Does SPY chart showing appear to have a cup and handle pattern, or does the cup need to 530? I mean, as far as it goes, you could consider it. Some people would consider this, right? Some people would consider this. Some people might have considered this. Some people might consider this right now. I would say this right now is more what I would pay attention to. If you see a 30-minute move like this and then it fails, that's going to really shoot that 2 hour down. I think that 2 hour is going to end up down to that 502, 500 level. But am I thinking that's the most probable? We haven't seen enough price action to really dictate like, hey, that is a high probable situation for sure. It's not really proving on our chart right now, so it's hard for us to read into it exactly. Mainly what we're saying here is just you're in a 2 hour pullback. At the end of the day, if it pulled back to here and curled up, is that still a higher low? Yeah. If it curled up today, right now, is that a higher low? Well, yeah, right? So it's just kind of like this. Wherever this 2 hour wants to curl up, that's when I react. And if I keep it that simple, I'll probably be more successful than a lot of people. Right? There's a lot of things to know. There's a lot of things to discuss. There's a lot of reasons for risk and things like that. But sometimes just simplifying it completely can be a good thing. Hey, if this is a 2 hour higher low, can we see higher prices? Yes. Okay, so maybe I want to see when there's confirmation of a 2 hour higher low. Daily expected moves for Tesla are over on Patreon. We posted those yesterday, and we did give out the second standard deviation move. How do you know if it will fail? You don't. It's impossible to know if it will fail. People like to say things as for sures, and we read into those things and we say what is more probable, right? What was more probable here? How did we know a 2-hour pullback was going to happen? Well, we saw 30-minute divergence and we said a 2-hour pullback would be pretty damn probable. That would be the most probable thing in this area. Squeezing above that is the other option, but that's not the most probable. But did we know until it actually happened? No, we did not know what was going to happen before it happened. We were aware of what we saw in front of us and made decisions. That is a lot different. Anyone who is telling you that they can read into the future, with 100%, it's just not a thing. Nobody has the crystal ball. Well, and then everyone's going to be like, but roaring kitty. Confirmation for the move being MACD and RSI. Well, confirmation being the 30-minute coming up to these areas. You confirmed 30-minute divergence right here. You never curled back up the 30-minute chart, meaning the momentum was down here the whole time. There's more to it than that. We go through this right here. This would be a management of the trade. If I shorted here, this would be a management of the trade. We talk about the managing of trades in the course down there, the full technical analysis course, right? But for the simplicity of this explanation, look how the 30-minute curled down and it never confirmed back up on the MACD. This is why I like the lagging indicator of the MACD. I can convince myself a million different things are happening if I read into everything, but if I have a favorite, mine is MACD and RSI, and I go, okay, the RSI is seeing this little curl up. Is that something to hang your hat on? Okay, if the 15-minute rejects, I have my ways of looking into it, but this is why we were like, yeah, 2-hour pullback seems likely. Be prepared if that squeezes, right? If the 30-minute curls back up, right? That's what was said in the videos. If the 30-minute curls back up, we can break through serious resistance. It never did, which means what? 2-hour pullback's happening. Monthly moves for the Qs? Yeah, of course. You're at one right now. 437.18 to the upside, 566 for the Qs. You are at a monthly expected move. You tested it pretty much yesterday. You used it as support back here. And you used it as resistance, resistance, resistance over here. Very important level. And as we just did a lot of work to build back into these moves, I think it would be very surprising if we were to lose them again. But hey, we lost it on the SPY. And we're kind of rejecting off it now. Awesome trade. Or wait, who asked for it? I like milk. Hopefully you saw that. Trade and such. You're bringing out some great topics, man. I like it. Great topics. She said, yes, I do. That's scary. Now ask her some questions, not Navin. $100% on the put. Nice, Kalani. Good little day trade there. I know you're always up to your little day trader stuff, Kalani, but congratulations. Nice job. Sorry, Marco. What'd you say? Amex, all in, $100 down. Oh, this little guy? Why are you... Oh, God. Does this have options? This has a 5-minute double top. This has 30-minute pulls back, and you're very likely to go to like 42 cents. If you're lucky, you hold up at 48 cents. 350 yesterday. Let's go, Kalani. The hell, dude? Yeah, Marco, looking at this, bought at 65. That was the exact time that you confirmed 5-minute divergence. Like, just so you guys are aware, when these things go sporadic, 30-minute curl downs mean a lot. This means a lot. Right as that curled down, you're saying you got it right in here. Well, you have signals above you that suggest that this is going to go through some weakness. You had it here. You had it here. These are ones that when you see sporadic things from little stocks, I will look at 5 minutes because it moves very sporadically. I mean, the 5-minute could curl up here. This could still remain good, but the overall sentiment here is, hey, when that 30-minute curls up, even after a good move, what happens? A lot of bad things. So if you're saying you just purchased it, I mean, did you have other reasons besides, hey, it was up a large amount? You know, did you read into the actual like numbers of this? What's going on? Have you read into the signals at all? Do you have moves for it? Are you doing options? Like, this sounds like, you know, and this isn't trying to be offensive or anything like that. I'm just saying this is like when AMC or GME pops off and people buy it at $150. Um, this is a very miniature moment. What I'd be doing is seeing this and going, oh, there's going to be a 30-minute pullback, sell. 30-minute pulls back, curls back up, and then I'm back in the play, right? I'm looking for those big 30-minute swings. But if this 30-minute never curls back up, that's a problem. So technically, the time to buy was right here, 55 cents, and the time to sell was up here at like 72 cents probably. According to my strategies, if I was, treating this using my strategies on very short time frames, but be careful putting all of your money into something, into one little thing, and thinking you're going to get rich quick. There are better ways to get rich the fast way in the market. If you want to know how to get rich quick, just ask me. I'll get you rich really quick. I'll get you rich quicker than anyone out there that is retail day trading right now. Well, I'm sorry about that, Marco, and I'm trying to turn it into a learning experience. Sorry. Something put on HYG? Not necessarily. I mean, I just use HYG to look at like how it's performing. It looks very similar to the market. Yeah, Marco, slow it down. That's the best way. You will get rich way faster than people if you do it the slow way. Patience. Don't be using, money management, risk management. Those create longevity. All right. I mean, a homeless guy just won the lottery. Did you see that? It makes sense. Daily for IWM. I don't think I gave those out, but we're not even close to daily expected moves right now. We have not seen anything crazy, but those are on Patreon. You get them for the SPY and the Qs here, though. Let's really zoom in here. The sad part is Willow, psychology would tell us he might end up homeless again, which is kind of sad. Yeah, polar bear there, stuff like that. No, Marcus, it's okay. Since you're being very nice about it, I'll tell you it. Okay? How about that? I'll tell you. You were very nice about it with your response right there. So I appreciate you being mature about it. So for IWM, you'd be paying attention to, what is it? I'll just say it out loud. All right, you ready for it? 190.27. 190.27. So up in here, right? 190.27 up in these areas. And then 179.67. So all the way down here. You got 190.27 and 179.67. You are nowhere near those just yet. We're just looking if little 5-minute things pop up, right? We want to look at a 5-minute chart for a sec for fun. Oh boy, what a good day. I'm having a good time. Who's having a good time today? Come on, guys. Positivity into a long weekend. Let's go. He has risen, and so will our stocks. Well, or so will our trades that we decided to take. Let's include everyone, right? Bearish and bullish. He has risen, and so will all of our trades. Thanks for writing them down, Willow. Appreciate you. Because I can't type in there. Thank you, really. No, Marcus, see? Do you see positive? Like, just being calm, being nice goes a long way in this chat. Hey, Tyler, but there's also a positive. Maybe the only way it can go is up. I've had to hit rock bottom multiple times to make changes in my life. So I believe in you, Tyler. I need to do maybe we do need to start doing a Discord just to chat with some people individually. I really want to see if I can find the time. I really want to get that going just to get a chat with people, Or what's that platform I always hear about? What the hell's Connect or something? Like something just to connect a little bit to really show like how it happens. When I try to make more than on binary options, I end up losing, bro. I lose my patience and start earning money too fast and forget completely about how I used to get paid $10 an hour in construction. Yeah, money shorts, and it's about perspective, and it's about how we treat money. Treat a big amount of money like it's a small amount of money, right? If I have a $1,000 rent bill and I make 200, let's say I make $400 a week and I only have $1,600, right? Then I'm going to treat that money very seriously. I'm like, I have bills to pay. So if I still have that $1,000 rent and then all of a sudden I make $10,000, I might spray away all of that $10,000 because I'm used to only having 1,600. What I'm trying to say is at the moment that you make, say, a $10,000 and your rent is still only 1,000, understand that you can do a lot of good for your future by just saving that money and maybe taking 10% of it and just having fun with that. Yeah. Albert, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you being here today. Because I did the same thing, Money Short. I did it when I was like 20 years old. When I was like 18, I got one of the best jobs ever. I worked at a golf shop and I was the youngest person ever hired. And I had the best soccer numbers that they had because I was a soccer expert and blah, blah, blah. But I went from making $7 an hour working at a daycare for my church to making what, $3,000 to $5,000 a month. That's a lot different. And guess what I did? I went and bought the most expensive shirts and wasted a whole $5,000 on it. If I would have taken that $5,000 and just put it into the S&P 500 back then, it would be worth like $20,000 or something now. So do you see how it's all perspective? And the sooner you change your perspective, the better you can be over time. It doesn't mean don't have fun. I hate people that say save every penny. I'm not saying that. I'm saying put it into percentages. Write it down on an Excel spreadsheet and say, I'm going to stick to this, and this is the amount of percentage that I can use for fun. You know? And I know this is a random topic and we need to be talking about, ooh, look at that, 5-minute higher low. Okay, let's do it. Also, yeah, you gotta, because life's not about working. Life's not about saving money. Life's about experience. If you hear clicks, I'm sorry. I've been playing with my knife. Exactly. But you don't know when something good or bad could really happen. It's about purses. It's about purses, luxury purses made in China with a sticker from France that you buy for $40,000. Duh. Perspective. Definitely take chances, and once in a while, data. Okay, I wish I didn't read all of that. But taking chances is very good when you have time, right? Taking chances when you're 80 is a lot different than taking chances when you're 20. Starting a business when you're 20, you have a lot of time to make up for it if something goes wrong. Hey, Luke, just wanted to say thanks. Yesterday, you reminded me of the MACD's second cross when it's above or below zero line and how that can lead to a bigger move than the first one. Was able to end positive yesterday. Fantastic, Lurkin Luke. Lurkin Luke, you're always lurking, and I love it. And I love it when you come in and you say something was helpful. That is fantastic. Sometimes the quiet ones are the most successful. They're the ones trying to pay attention to their own analysis the most, and then they just come in for the little second opinion. And I think that's fantastic, Luke. And I love your name. We always know that. Yo, how expensive? Okay. Tell me something. I'm not a watch guy. I'm not a watch guy. What's an expensive watch? I'm not a watch guy. My watch that I wear is $15, and I always buy a $15 watch. I always have a $15 waterproof watch. Well, yeah, Rolex, okay, but like I meant like, is there a certain one that people are tooting about right now? New watches for 2025. I've never been to this website. I do not give a shit about watches, necklaces, jewelry, expensive clothes. I just don't. Okay, this one is called the, oh wait, this one's called the Date Just. Light and shady. Ooh. How much are they though? This website's annoying. I hate websites that don't talk about price. Freaking rich people. I don't want to drag to explore. I just want to see how much it is. All right, so for this one, the Rolex Date Just 6,300. Holy sh! This 36 millimeter yellow gold with a green tilt, the day date president is $70,000. No, nope, you'll never convince me. Nope, nope. Sorry, guys. All right, give me some tickers, guys. We need to focus back on this stock market, right? Let's get some tickers out there that maybe we haven't even looked at today. Have we looked at a bunch of different things? INTC, we did actually look at, sorry, Apple. Actually, I don't think we did. Did we look at Apple very extensively? Not too much. 30-minute able to curl up. So what are you aware of? Well, the way that this fails is the 30-minute is too deep here. The 30-minute curls up, fills this gap, rejects and turns down. But guess what? That would take you outside of your 95% line. And I would say that, hey, risk to reward is on the table, but there are concerns with China with Apple. The 2-hour has crossed down. You really want this. This would be a crazy look, but crazy things can happen. So if that 30-minute does not reject, or maybe it rejects and holds up, right? Either way, if we're not going to lower levels, then is the 2-hour able, even if we do weird stuff, is the 2-hour able to really confirm up with a strong move and then take out this high and head to where? 225. I really like the level of 225 for Apple. That's where I think it could run into problems, but if it's able to get to there and then see some kind of basing out and then curl up, you have great, great, great structure. So let's see. Let's also look at the daily chart for Apple because we're going to be looking at these tomorrow. The daily chart has curled up. So do you see why I'm still worried about this? I'm still worried about this because if the daily gets this, say, A, maybe B, maybe C move, and then we see a daily curl down, that can be a bad thing. That can be where failure happens. So I want to make sure that this is controlled and curling back up. Boom, boom, boom. And that's the look for a lot of charts out there. I could click on almost any one of these names over here and find that look, that head and shoulders type look. But Apple is extremely deep on the daily. Do you know what you look at this? We have it marked off right here. You need daily divergence a lot of the time. When you see deep things down here, you need what? Daily divergence on the RSI, on the MACD. When you go down like this, you need daily divergence down here on the MACD. You are lower than those points now. You can see V shapes, but Apple likes to make divergences, so be aware of that. It doesn't mean it has to happen. It means it is something to be aware of because that is a regular behavior that happens a lot of the time. So let's just pay attention. See if we're getting a 5-minute high or low for the SPY, right? MSTR, let's go look at that, right? Bitcoin's seeing good things, so is MSTR. Well, 5-minute looks pretty sporadic, but overall, look at that 30-minute. Now you have the divergence, so you have to be aware that the 2-hour can cross here, but look how positive that is. That would just overall still be a pullback, and you're remaining at higher levels. So if the 2-hour crosses, we can see that moment, right? We can see a moment where this might come down and fill all the way at 270, 250. But if that just curls up, it's still good. It's very hard to say that MSTR is going to absolutely get crushed. It is. The way that it ends up saying I'm going to get crushed a little harder is if the daily scale turns down. So what you're saying is the 2-hour can turn down, but I need that to whip back up. Because if the daily crosses down, that says there's more risk, and that's too much risk than I would want to assume, especially before an earnings, right? I wouldn't be touching it. But for the time being, 2-hour not crossed down, 2-hour not overbought, 30-minute is by the center line, where if you see that break and you see a close above this level, about 321.50, we'll say, nope, that's too high. Sorry about that. Let's see the closings here. 317.60, we'll say 317.60. If you can close above that and not fail, right? We don't see this and then go bam, right? And you see a strong move here to get to where? Well, potentially the previous high, then you might consolidate 342-ish. Okay, that would be awesome. That would be good. But what do we notice from the structure here? Well, we had boom, boom, boom to head higher, right? We see that. And then at the same time, we reacted to this level, and we are consolidating at that level. That is a good thing, but there is always the opportunity to see this. There is always the opportunity to see that. So just be aware, but this is what you want to see, is a pullback with time is like very, very nice if you can confirm upside from it. Very cool. I'm not even the biggest fan of MSTR, but I tell you how it is. And I think that's what it looks like right now. Yo, good luck to all. I'm out of here. I'm done for the day. Good luck. Hey, thanks for coming in, Money Shorts Edit. Hope you have a good one, buddy. Have a great Easter, or just 3-day weekend if you get one. Drawing like some iron. Yeah, similar look. This one's a little more risk. Down at the cup and handle type of levels. 2-hour curl down. Still though, just prove that it's a higher low. That's all it has to do. Prove it's a higher low by curling up and taking out these 68, 69 levels. Get back up to 72.43, and things are looking pretty good. Let's go into a 5-minute again. Chill here for a second. The SPY's starting to move. Just wanted to keep an eye on it. We curled down, but look at that. It kind of looks like that 2-hour. Let's see if we can get some upside here. Remember that the 30-minute move up here is the risk. We'll see. What's your favorite stock to hold for from today till end of 2026? What have I been looking at? Let me go check my dividend stuff that I've been paying attention to. I always look at these. I always look for good things from these, but they're just too high up. What's another one? Oh god, I got wrong thing. I can't freaking scroll. Oh, was that it? Weirdly enough, I know I was looking at Toyota and Ford. Yeah, Ford. So I'll show you why I'm looking at Ford. I want to show you why on the investment side I'm looking at Ford. Well, because as I pull out to a daily chart, first of all, if I'm thinking about investing, I'm not looking at those shorter time frames too much. I'm looking at the daily, I'm looking at the weekly. And what do you see from the daily? We see forms of divergence, multiple point for the time being. And then we pull this out to say a weekly. Right? With the weekly, I just want to see, okay, in some way, are we seeing tapering? Are we seeing this try to base out in some way? We have flat divergence on the R side. Okay. So now I just want to go to a monthly chart, right? I don't have to be super complex with it. I believe in Ford. I think Ford is a great stock. It pays a dividend. It's great, right? Maybe it's not the absolute best dividend in the world, but it's pretty damn good. So let's see. From the monthly scale, am I buying low or buying high? I'm technically buying low, right? Now, this isn't as low as it could get. Ford could go through serious, serious trouble. But, 1991, you're here. Where are we at right now? Well, let's pull that across. Okay, so 2020 crash, you're almost to those levels. I think Ford's not bad, right? This is something I'm willing to have. This is what I'm looking at. From the investment side of things. Now, that can get worse, right? That can be bad. But is my plan to hold that for a month and see something bad, or is my plan to hold that for 5-10 years from that point? Mustangs, it's just that the electric Mustang is trash. I will say that. I hate the electric Mustang. I think it is trash. I think it looks dumb. And then I look at other things. I look at cash flow type things. Investment wise, I really like to pay. If I want like leverage behind it, I look at just purchasing nail home builders. Uh-oh, something happened. Oh no. Oh, something happened. That's no good. All I see is the electric Mustangs around my city, and I hate the look. Replaced, yeah. It doesn't. It has the Mustang symbol on it. And it says Mustang, but it just is not the Mustang. I think the other one was what? Let me look at another one. I think I liked the fact that Toyota. I liked the fact that Toyota was making moves earlier than everyone else to make production here in the States. I think that's great. Bought Ford at $3 a share in 2008. That's freaking awesome, Tom. I love that. it can go through bad things, but it's just what am I willing to, potentially hold as far as risk goes. And the other thing is like Tesla's been down for by 60% or 50% or something with daily divergence as well. So what would be a good maybe hold for 2025 going into 2026? Well, it would be Tesla. It's just Tesla can move very sporadically, and you want to pay attention to that. You know, at the end of the day, Tesla could see some bad things in 2025. I would say going into the fall or winter of 2025, though. I'm not going for Ferrari or Porsche because I think luxury vehicles, if people go through any kind of struggling times, if we were to go into recession, I don't think that those cars would really be on the uptick. I think people would go down to, and if tariffs take over and things like that and they don't fully react, well, then what's going to be the cheaper option? Ford and Toyota will become cheaper than everything else because they already have production here. So short Fridays, I've been looking at Toyota. I've been looking mainly at Ford though as well. It's pretty cheap, and I think things can happen. Honda, I just don't like that you poke it with your finger and the whole thing like cracks. And then I'd maybe like quantum stocks too. I've been looking at quantum stocks. I'm just paying attention to, hey, do those look good for right now for an investment? I just think the money for me to be made is still just playing the options quick. Not too quick, but quick, right? Month stuff. My Odyssey is a tank. Yeah, but what year is it, Richard? HPE? Well, that's actually weird. Next level. Actually, next level, you bring up something interesting. An interesting stat is in recession, lipstick purchasing goes up. So you're not totally off. You're not totally off. Next level. If we did see a recession, now I don't think we're seeing recession just yet, but isn't that? I thought that was a funny thing. The only thing that goes like up in purchasing is kind of cosmetics, lipsticks. Women are like, I need to look good, so I find a rich man. Yeah, it hasn't been the easiest week. It's just because you're in that weird area. Weirdly enough, this is behaving, similar but different, but still type like this, where a squeeze is possible and then it just fails, right? So we're seeing if that's just going to fail. And I think a lot of people are betting that it's going to fail. And we're seeing that from the PCC. We're seeing that from the CPC. People are willing to take those bearish bets before the weekend. And that's a big deal. Now, what did we say? OpEx, a lot of implied volatility. Who really benefits from things just remaining kind of where they open up? Well, you'd say, Wall Street, market maker. What the heck is a frock? All the dudes in the chat, Llama Mama. What's a frock? I don't know what a frock is. I'm just going to be honest. I thought we just misspelled stock or something like that, but I don't think we did. I think we're just men. Let's get back to how much we bench or something. All right, I'm gonna check on my stuff. It's an effed up stock, yeah. And then I will have to be hopping off in a bit, but we will be live later on today on Rumble, okay? IWM. Fancy dress. Oh, my wife would probably know. I felt bad because we went out and had a nice little day at the zoo with a buddy of mine. And my wife was wearing a beautiful, beautiful like sundress romper thing. And I was straight up in a dad fit and didn't even realize it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's just natural. I'm wearing dad fits now. Like the only thing I didn't have was New Balances. And I was like, oh no. Does it? Does the market close early today? I actually didn't. I need to be looking at that type of stuff, but oh man, if it's a half day, it's okay. Army had a half day. Come on, guys. You got to be watching Arrested Development. Army had a half day. Oh, come on. All right. Well, we're just it's always just join my do subscribe, do this. I'll make make you pay money. I guess all you have to do is kind of go like, where does Monday start? Yeah, I'm down for a half day. No, it looks like it goes all day. Yeah, so I don't think it's a half day. This you don't get a half day and you don't get to go home and play with your friends early. Sorry. Lucas in 5 years. Gonna have my New Balances, my $15 watch, my Glock 19, and making dad jokes. Oh, oh, pull my finger. Your fanny pack. Fanny pack, making small talk, talking about my yard and my stock portfolio that's bad or something, Just regular dad stuff. Yeah, Richard. I'm just gonna be Bernie. That's who I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be Bernie. Oh wait, let's look at the 5 minute. That's right. Let's have some fun with it, right? Let me Bernie. I'm gonna go from New Balances in Texas to flip flops in or sliders, not flip flops, sliders, because real men don't put things between their toes. And then I'll and then I'll make that in when I'm in Florida. Which is funny. I actually do like flip flops. So, oh come on, I wanted to hang out for a little bit longer, see if this 5 minute curls up. Not on the SPY, no. I mean, I'm sure a day trader would like to see a 5 minute curl up here because that's how you would get to this upward move. But the volatility right now seems like they're dudding this. They're gonna burn options maybe all day. There's a lot of money on the line, so they can just soak up all that liquidity. I actually do have fanny packs. That's the funniest thing. I have like 3 fanny packs. You said Texas is the best state. Will's like, bullshit. Will's pissed. What trades did you take today? I've already been in trade. I was in trades. I've been in IWM for a bit and then started positions for Amazon and Meta. Oh man, my buddy wants me to play pickleball, and I don't know. Yeah, I do positions. I don't day trade. It's just I've had to almost sell like a day trade lately. Oh, I've seen that video lurking, Luke. Is one of them your fancy fanny pack? No, I do have a zoo fanny pack though. My zoo fanny pack is it's very gay looking. We'll just say that. Very feminine, I guess. It is light blue with a bunch of flamingos on it. Don't ask. I liked it. I like flamingos. I know that's weird, but I like flamingos. I used to be on a gaming team where we used to play tournaments back when in like college, and we were called the Mingos. 5 steps to become a basic dad. You've seen rich day traders just completely give up on the week. Really? I mean, huh? That's kind of interesting to me. 3,500 now. I mean, for gold, if we look at something like futures, and we have lines that we understand, but that's not a good sign. You're pretty much you're outside of the percentage areas already, so you're a high likelihood that this is already a trap, and you're just going to form a top in the next couple like a week, in the next week or so. But as of right now, you have divergence pretty serious here on your RSI, right? Pretty serious there. So if the daily crosses down, this could be like that meta moment. Do you guys remember the meta moment where meta saw that next curl up and then just failed? This looks like a meta moment. What meta moment are we talking about? It was literally this right here. It was literally, oh, I have a bad signal. I get rid of it for a second, and then I just fail. And I think it was actually on the 2-hour chart, wasn't it? I believe it was a 2-hour chart at the high. Yeah, but it actually gave you the divergence point. That's why meta was such a good trade right here. And I missed it because I thought for sure, oh, we're going to make that next divergence point. And see, I was behind on it. And that was silly of me because this was a great trade. But thankfully, too, back in that time, what was it? JP Morgan or something in that time. And I think gold at that time. But yeah, this is kind of what it reminds me of. It just eventually you're going to see something like that and it could be bad. Does that mean it has to be that bad? No. Am I going to short gold? No. I think it's still too risky because it could just remain higher up. We're in that time where if people just continue to have uncertainty, then gold could remain at higher levels. We did see a big transaction there apparently, so we'll see. So for the time being, would I be like, I'm not willing to buy gold. I would say the smarter thing would be maybe to think about puts on gold, but am I willing to do it right now? No, I'm looking at the bullish trades. Need to be a little patient. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, Oscar. It's very difficult to time those things. That's why Meta was so nice. Meta actually gave you something to go off of. I don't think gold's necessarily giving you something to obviously go off of besides a daily chart. And by the time that daily chart curls down, you could already be down pretty significantly. I thought you missed JP Morgan caught Meta. I'd have to go look, honestly, Richard. Think, thought, and done. No, I'm pretty sure. No, I missed Meta. Look. What was the date on? Here, I'll look on my other screen so I'm not bugging you guys. This 30 minutes should look like wonky at the top. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Meta, 30-minute, the wonkiness of Meta on the 30-minute. Yep, I was looking for the 30-minute curl. So when I saw this strong move, remember I saw this and I said, oh, that's the management of the trade. This is going wrong, right? That's the management of the trade, which means this could continue. And I'm going to look for that divergence point to get in. And then it just crossed on the 2-hour and went down. So Meta was the one I missed and I just looked it up. So it's, yeah. But thankfully, I think it was gold and then JP Morgan after that. Yep. But gold was quick. Remember that one? Gold was quick at that time. What do I think about SPY right now? I think the SPY is potentially going to make a 2-hour higher low, and I think that's more probable. I think it is more probable for the SPY to make a higher low. But do I consider this what I need to see to actually put money behind that thought? No, not necessarily. I need to see that 2-hour confirm up. This is why I'm not trading the SPY. I don't think the obvious thing would be risk to reward down here. Here, you're kind of in that middle area. So I'm choosing to take the risk to rewards right now. And then if I see confirmation, I can add to the plays. IWM, I'm already holding IWM. So I don't need to be in the SPY as well. But my thoughts for the SPY is this can dictate itself as a 2-hour higher low, and we made a sturdy double bottom, and we do not want to take that out. But I understand the possibility of this is still a thing, right? As long as I understand my risks, then I can, potentially pay attention to both sides and just understand, okay, how's my money positioned at this moment? What would I need to react to? Like volatility, if this curls down on the 2-hour, I'm pretty happy about it. But what if it just did this and then curled up? Oh, well, that would be a signal of weakness, right? That would mean we go, oh. Oh yeah, 100%, right? Everything's always 100% with those type of people. It's never not going to happen, and then it just doesn't happen and they don't talk about it. It's getting interesting. Okay, we'll watch this 5-minute bar and then I'll have to take off. I just hope a 5-minute little thing doesn't pop up here, but because we could reject easily off of that move, 530. Amazon. May 9th is the strike for the 190 price point. I'm saying that Amazon, so my bet is that Amazon is going to take out these highs. And Amazon is going to get to here towards 197.50 or all the way up into 206, possibly even by May 9th. Now, am I betting that all is going to happen in one swoop? No. A lot of the time, I like to see the first point hit, take some profit, second point hit, take some profit, see a pullback, maybe add more, then see that get to 206, take full profit, right? I like to take profit on the way up. But yeah, I was seriously contemplating like which one to buy. So 190 is what I wanted. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but I don't have to buy a ton at this moment. You want to look at PayPal, Matthias? I'm down. And then we're going to look at this 5-minute bar for the SPY, and then I might have to head off. Well, similar thing to the whole market, right? So all you're paying attention to is, does the 2-hour cross up? Do we take out these levels of about 63.80? And then do we head up to 67.50 and reject and need to form structure, or is it a hard rejection? The ultimate goal for PayPal, though, is to potentially get all the way up to 71. I'll say 71.50. 71.50 would be very, very nice. And that is where we see that neckline maybe come in. Do something like this, this, and this. Very, very nice. Yeah. For that, though, you need the 2-hour to cross up. So a lot of these are just, does the 2-hour solidify itself as a higher low? Why coin? Coin is going to the moon. Well, Bitcoin has some serious divergence there, and I like to treat coin as I bounce it, like I use Bitcoin to kind of dictate, hey, what's coin going to do? So do I see good signals from coin at the same time I see good signals from Bitcoin? That's all I like to do there. So Bitcoin has daily triple divergence on the RSI and just a divergence on the MACD. That's a good sign. Disney, we looked at Disney for a while, a few months ago, I think. Daily perspective looks troublesome. 2-hour perspective looks like I need a 2-hour to turn up and go positive and take out 91.50. The goal for really the goal for Disney is to try to get all the way to 101, about $101. That would really convince me, like, hey, we have the sorry about that. We have a good possibility, probability to just see pullbacks. I would like to have monthly expected moves for that. Can Bitcoin go down to lower levels like 73,000 in the short term? Let me double check the time frames here and make sure I keep in mind where 73 is. 73. 73 would have to be a daily curl down. So lower probability right now as you're holding sideways, right? The way that that becomes more possible is if the 4 hour kind of sets up a divergence here and then you see a daily curl down. So if you look at the 4 hour and you see this flagging, and this is just going to be lackluster, and it just goes pop, and then everyone gets euphoric, and then over the weekend it drifts down, and then it opens up on, say, like Monday, and you start doing this. That's more how that would happen, because divergence on the 4 hour likes to turn down daily charts. So that's what I'd be aware of for Bitcoin if we're going to go through something bad. Sometimes I try not to look at Bitcoin over the weekend because it'll make me think things about my options before the week really begins, right? I don't want to read too much into the movement of Bitcoin and say that's how stocks are going to move, but sometimes that's the case. So is this a bullish sign on the SPY now? It is bullish for a 5-minute chart in positive territory to curl up, but you have some levels you need to get through. 530. You guys remember 530 is an important level. I'm not excited at all about a 5-minute curling up, though. Like, I need to see the 2 hour. The ultimate thing here for the day is, like, does a 2 hour curl up? That would be awesome. That would show strength. A 5-minute curling up here, you can literally just be flagging right now. You can literally be doing something like this. You can go like that and then fall again. You are not above the 5. You haven't seen the 2 hour confirm. You haven't even seen the 30-minute confirm up yet, right? But if the 30-minute confirms up, that'd be great. Just keep in mind all the risks, right? Depending on, and I know we're looking at multiple timeframes. I try to look at multiple timeframes because we're all so different, right? So I try to look at a 5-minute and look for things that I can find. I try to look at a 30-minute and I try to look at a 2 hour and I see what everything is saying. And then I try to revert that back to you guys, right? That's how I try to be helpful. So if this happens and the 30-minute curls up and then fails, even if the 2 hour crosses up, if the 2 hour crosses up, but then the 30-minute crosses back down, that is a signal of weakness still. Now, sometimes on a weekend, hey, you can get news over the weekend and that could be good, that could be bad. Sometimes the signals can just not be proven correct and then it can go the wrong way on Monday. So that's why take into consideration how much risk I'm assuming over the weekend. All right, well, I went a little bit past, but we did see that 5-minute curl up. I don't think that's anything too much to be excited about. What I want to see is a 2 hour curl up into positive territory. That would be fantastic for the day. But as we are seeing some lackluster price action for the moment, and we're not really moving too fast at all right now, we'll take a second look at this when we come back on the live show later on today on Rumble. The link for Rumble is down in the description if you would like to join us. Thank you so much to the people who have come over and joined, right? We've seen a lot of people come over there this week, and I think that's fantastic. It's a different platform, but it's just as fun, right? We're a little loose with it. At the end of the day, we usually only see one big move in the last 10 minutes, but we do have fun over there. We still talk about stuff. I'll look at charts for you. You can ask questions about the courses that's on sale. You can ask questions about the Patreon, how it could be helpful to your trading. And any kind of questions that you may have. If I'm able to answer them, I will, right? I will answer them to help you guys out, right? I want to really treat this community still as, use the mistakes that I've made, even if it's a question about a mistake you made. Use the mistakes that I've made to maybe not make those mistakes yourself, right? Use me. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I know some of you guys might dedicate yourself to some learning. That link's down there in the description, 80% off the full technical analysis course. But other than that, we will be putting out a video on Saturday, maybe even tomorrow morning. We'll put that video out. So look for Friday as well, looking at the bigger time frames. And then we will be putting out the updated weekly expected moves in the Sunday video. And Patreon members, we will get you all of those weekly expected moves for all the stocks that we do cover on the right side of your screen on Sunday night as well. So thank you guys. Have a great day. Peace out.